Welcome to the semifinal and the last coaches show of the year, presented by Team 1 Chevy of Gadsden. I'm Chandler Tyree. I got my man Austin Campbell joining me again for, I think me and you both only missed 1 week this year.
Yes, sir.
You was handling some family business.
That's right.
And I was at the hospital.
Yeah.
But we're here. A big night of high school football.
Yeah.
It all culminates to this, and then in Tuscaloosa a week from or next week.
Yeah.
So before we get into some scores, just kind of tell me some thoughts on some of the matchups we've been keeping up with in the studio.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to that Ramsey-Guntersville game, which is the 5A matchup right here in the semifinal. Guntersville having a great game last week against Pleasant Grove. Really shocked everybody, and they come out tonight, and I think Ramsey's winning that game pretty big right now, or
Still
handily.
waiting on a final there.
Yeah, waiting on a final there. And then also this BB Comer game, one of our local teams. A lot of hype surrounding that team. They made it to the championship last year. Can they do it again right now? I think Reeltown's actually in the final section of that game, inside the 10, going for a field goal to potentially beat BB Comer at Legion Field. That's a huge game right there.
Legion Stadium.
So we're waiting on Legion Stadium. We're waiting on the final there. But just an outstanding week of matchups here.
But
sure.
like before we go to any, we can cut. Let's cut to that and see what if we can, and see what's going on in that game.
We're trying to cut over to that BB Comer, that BB Comer final.
They actually have a timeout right now on the field.
That's right.
But just previewing some of the matchups we're going to talk about tonight. We don't need scores yet. But Leroy and Elba, a much-anticipated matchup that everybody was anticipating in Class 1A, Coosa Christian and Pickens County, BB Comer and Reeltown, Pisgah and Fife, Mobile Christian and St. James, Geraldine, Madison Academy. In Class 4A, Booker T. Washington, Montgomery Catholic. Can Booker T. continue their Cinderella story?
Yeah.
That's the big question there. Westminster Christian, Cherokee County. Ramsey and Guntersville, you talked about that matchup already. Gulf Shores and Eufaula in Class 5A. In Class 6A, Saraland and Pike Road, and Parker and Clay Chalkville. And then in Class 7A semis, we saw that last week. Central Phoenix City defeated Mary Montgomery 21-7, and Thompson defeated Hewitt-Trussville 21-10.
Why? Because he hasn't done this in a game.
Looking in on
all season.
On the live action.
It looks like it'll be a 24-yard.
Yeah, Reeltown goes down on their last possession before this one right here, and they score. They were down 22-28. They go for 2, didn't get it. BB Comer turns the ball over on downs on a pass play over the middle on 4th down. Reeltown drives down the field, and here we are right here inside the 10-yard line with potential to put the Tigers away this year.
Yeah, timeout from BB Comer there, playing a little head game back and forth between the coaches there. But
you can't ask for better in the 4th round. This game right here has been going back and forth. We've talked about this matchup all year.
This was the matchup that we were anticipating. This is the matchup that we wanted. We talked about this in Class 2A.
Best of the best.
And so both of these teams have came out and played really well. Some costly turnovers kind of hurt them.
Yep.
Hurt both teams a little bit early. But a heavyweight match right here.
Yeah, and right before we cut, right before we came on the show, we saw on that broadcast right there where Reeltown actually had a chance to score, put the ball in the end zone, hit the receiver in the hands, and he drops it. So BB Comer very fortunate. They're potentially going to be able to have a chance to go to overtime right here with a missed field goal, because they definitely had the perfect play dialed up, and it was just a drop pass right there in the end zone. So BB Comer right now with a chance to block a field goal or perhaps a missed field goal, it's the best scenario they could hope for right now. Like I said, with that drop pass in the end zone by Reeltown earlier, just moments before.
All right, so yeah, I mean, they're coming back. I think the two teams are coming back out for the field goal attempt now. We'll see if that game goes into overtime or not here.
And here we go. The kick is for the win. Kick is up.
Wow.
Off the upright. And
wow.
in. And Reeltown wins this game in walk-off fashion at Legion Stadium, 31-28 over the B.B. Comer Tigers. But congratulations to B.B. Comer on another great year. Coach Adam Fawcett and those guys there. Congratulations on a great year. Tough way to go out, but like we said, a heavyweight fight there between two really good teams.
Goodness, man.
And so looking at, though, let's go ahead and get some scores, and then after we give the scores out, we can talk a little bit about the matchups that we had. Like we said, in Class 4A, the number 4 team in Class 4A, the Cherokee County Warriors, 50-6 over Westminster Christian. And, last week I talked about how they lost their quarterback, but I think that he actually came back from injury, if I'm not mistaken, and I think that he was able to play this week. But going into it, these two teams had a common opponent throughout the year, and Cherokee County had defeated that team pretty handily. Westminster Christian did not, and so we felt like that Cherokee County was a better team, but you just never know what can happen.
Well, I mean, especially with not knowing if their starting quarterback was going to be there. I mean, in the 4th round game, I mean, you got to have your guys. I mean, we've been a part of a team that's been bit by the injury bug that late in the season. You got to have your big time guys making plays. And so, like you said, we believe that the quarterback came back this week, and I mean, they absolutely handled business against Westminster Christian, who is a team that's had an outstanding year. And we thought this game, even though we respect Cherokee County and we think they're big dogs on the north side of that 4A bracket, we thought Westminster Christian was going to give them a little more of a test right here.
Yeah, but we actually do have highlights from this game. Let's go in and look at some of the highlights from this game. We want to thank WAAY 31 out of Huntsville for sending us these highlights.
I mean, and for Cherokee County last week to lose to win a close game, by the skin of their teeth, even without their starting quarterback, they heard the buzz about, maybe this is our best chance to get Cherokee County right here. And I promise you, with that head coach that we talked to earlier this year, they definitely had a chip on their shoulder in this week of preparation for sure.
And you can see, right there, a turnover early in the game by Westminster Christian, and then can't field the punt or can't get the punt off right there. You can't make costly mistakes like that against a team like Cherokee County.
Absolutely not. They're going to capitalize for
and
sure.
There's Carson Tittle right there. You saw him in the knee brace. But somebody had posted something earlier today that when you think about a warrior, you look at the definition of warrior, like he's got to be his picture's got to be there, and it's fitting. Yeah, it's just that's fitting. That the Cherokee County Warriors, he comes out injury and all, and he don't want to miss this action with his teammates in the semifinals. So kudos to him. And this guy, Jacob Cornejo, he's been a dude all year, and they roll big. This game was 43-0 at halftime, Austin. So it never was a ball game. And they go and take care of business, and we'll see them again next week in Tuscaloosa for a chance to win another 4A state championship. So.
Yeah, second straight year we have a team in our coverage area that's going to go have a chance to play for the state championship, which is what you do it for. You start out as soon as the season ends in the wintertime, and you start preparing for it, and Cherokee County finds a way to get back. Man, we can't say enough about how hard it is to get back to that same spot that they were last year. 15 weeks in high school football in any classification in the state of Alabama is a tall task, and the Cherokee County Warriors find a way to get that done, but their job's not done yet until they bring that blue map home.
No doubt about it. Looking at our next score that we have from the semifinals, number 3 Reeltown. We just saw the final play there, a walk-off field goal to defeat B.B. Comer, 31-28. Like I said, the number 1 team in Class 2A goes down, and Reeltown. What a way to come in to Legion Stadium. To a very, very good B.B. Comer, a very well-rounded team, and defeat B.B. Comer there. Kudos to them. And like I said, Coach Adam Fawcett, the B.B. Comer Tigers, great season there. We knew they had a gauntlet. When it started, when they had to play Highland home, we knew that Reeltown was going to be close, and we knew whoever made it to the state championship game against the Northwinter was going to have a tough road too there. And so congratulations to Reeltown, 31-28.
Yeah, and we talked about it while we was watching some of that live feed there about the amount of players we saw on the field with cramps and things like that. You brought up about how it's 2A football. You have Kamari Harris, the best player on the field, who's going both ways, holding his waist. He can't catch his breath because they're going punch for punch each play. Nobody on either side is getting any rest, and it just come down to the very wire. The possession before Reeltown goes up, ties the ball game, and that same kicker that kicks a game winner didn't even have a chance because they don't typically kick for an extra point. They went for 2, got snuffed, 28-28. They go down, stop B.B. Comer in Reeltown territory, drive the field, go all the way down to the field, 1 second left, kick the game-winning field goal. Just a 4th-round match of the ages, and they keep B.B. Comer Tigers from going to their 2nd consecutive state championship game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Do we have any more scores? Another local team here in Class 1A, the Coosa Christian Conquerors, 21-12 over Pickens County. A lot of adversity that this Coosa Christian team's been through this year. Man, at one point in time, they had to forfeit all their games. They were
looking at potentially not making the playoffs. Had to win their last 3 region games just to get in. Was a 3 seed, and now they find themselves going to Tuscaloosa to compete for a 1A state championship against a really good team that won in the Leroy Elba. I don't want to talk about it too much because we're going to get to that score in a second. But Coosa Christian defensively. Offense struggled a little bit tonight against Pickens County, but we knew Pickens County had a good defense after the way they were able to shut down Wadley last week. That's right.
But defense stood tall, and everybody's talked about Coosa Christian, how tough their defense is. Now they are 9-5. You know, in 19 mid-90s, there was a Gadsden High School team that also finished the regular season 5-5. And ended up winning a state championship. Could we see another team from Etowah County go in, finish the year 5-5, and win a state championship? That team was a traditional way. They lost 5 regular season games.
There wasn't no forfeits.
No, it was no forfeits.
Yeah.
And went on to win a state championship. Coosa Christian, we know the only game that they actually lost this year was the very opening game against Geraldine, who played in a semifinal game tonight in Class 3A. So we know that level of competition there. Won every other game on the field, but had to forfeit 4 ball games because of a ruling by the HSAA.
Right.
But here they are, 21-12. Coach Mark O'Brien and the Coosa Christian Conquerors find themselves with a chance to win a state championship after defeating Pickens County 21-12.
Yeah, and look, man, they're going to have their hands full next week in that state championship game. That 1A matchup between Elba and Coosa Christian, Elba's got some dog.
No, Elba didn't win.
Oh,
Leroy came back and beat them.
Did they? Look, either way, they got – dude, they have a tall – it's going to be the best team that they've played all year perhaps besides Geraldine. It's not going to be a – we're giving it to you. Coosa Christian's going to have their hands full next week.
No doubt about it. All right, so let's go to break. When we come back, we'll catch you up on all the other scores from across the state. We'll start looking at some final matchups, and then we'll also update you on what the girls' flag football bracket looks like as well. We'll be right back on the Coaches Show presented to you by Team 1 Chevy of Gadsden.
At Southern States Bank, we pride ourselves on being your local bank. We're your neighbors and involved in the community. We're the bank featuring the Southern Rewards checking account, a cashback account with no ATM fees. We're on the cutting edge and always have a smiling face to help you out. Stop being just another number at the big bank and start being a neighbor at Southern States Bank. Let us be the bank for you and your business.
The Coosa Valley, on the banks of the Coosa River in Gadsden, Alabama. Fishing, boating, and paddling, and home to Team 1 Chevrolet. Team 1 Chevy has been serving generations for years. Even the grandkids are grown. Come by and see why so many people come back to Team 1 Chevy in Gadsden.
Home of the best people, the best service, period.
There's a special place where overtime gives way to family time, where fast-paced becomes a little slower lifestyle. At Campers Unlimited, we can help get you there. where your lake house, beach house, or tailgate headquarters can have the same address. We carry the top brands in America like Grand Design and Forest River. With a large selection, we're sure to have a floor plan that fits your needs. So when you're ready to disconnect in order to reconnect, take the easy drive to Campers Unlimited on Interstate 59 in Gadsden or shop us online at campersunlimited.net.
Serving Calhoun County in the state of Alabama since 1994, offering some of the most competitive interest rates in the mortgage industry, along with a wide variety of mortgage products. We are with you throughout the home buying process, offering you service before and after the close. Fast, reliable, local. Visit us today or apply online at our website, jacksonmortgageco.com.
And you remember, if you need a home loan, call my daddy.
Welcome back to the Coaches Show, presented to you by Team 1 Chevy of Gadsden. Looking at the girls' flag football bracket, we've got graphics for that. Winona beat Westminster Christian in the 1A through 5A girls, 20-6 in the semis, and Montgomery Catholic beat Satsuma 31-6. So Montgomery Catholic has a chance to go to Tuscaloosa and win not one, but two blue maps in flag football and football. So good luck to them next week. And then in the 6A, 7A girls bracket, Vestavia Hills blanked Lee of Huntsville 21-0, and Central Phoenix City beat Prattville 34-6. So Vestavia Hills and Central Phoenix City will match up in the 6A, 7A girls state title. Central Phoenix City is another school that's got a chance to go get two blue maps. Their girls and their boys both in it and having a chance to play in Tuscaloosa.
Wow.
For my college football fans, the Washington Huskies, and I know the Crimson Tide fans are intrigued by this, the Washington Huskies hold a 27-24 lead over the Oregon Ducks with the ball with 6:44 left in the fourth quarter of the Pac-12 championship game there. We are going to look at some highlights now. We talked about Coosa Christian and Coach Mark O'Brien earlier punching their ticket to Tuscaloosa. Let's look and see how they punched their ticket. Great run right there by Pickens County.
Absolutely. You can tell they've definitely got some athletes as well.
And that score right there made it 7-7. Tie the ball game up early, but some tough running right there. Good blocking.
Just a little ISO, straight up the middle, baby, right into your face mask.
Get straight north and south.
And we know Coosa is one of those teams that can spread it out and throw it as well.
The good thing about this is when you get to this level, there's two things that always travel: run game and defense. And so if you can do both of those things, which Coosa has proven they can do, they play really good defense, you got a chance to win.
Wow.
I think one thing Coosa's going to have to do better next week when they play a really, really good Leroy team in the state championship game is, from what I see on film, they're going to have to tackle a lot better in space, because Leroy's going to have some guys that can play in space, both of these 1A teams have guys that can play in space. But
right, and that's another run right up the middle. All the tape that we've seen at Coosa Christian, most of their highlights are through the air, it seems like. But I feel like the coaching staff might have seen something on film that says we need to run this thing right down their throat, and that's our best chance of winning this football game. It looks like that's what they did.
No doubt about it.
And now Coosa's got some big hogs. I can't believe we didn't have.
That's the thing about it. Is like they have some offensive linemen that they don't look like a traditional 1A football
right.
team. They're huge up front. Which I mean there's nothing more. When I was the defensive coordinator, there was nothing more deflating than whenever you were lined up right, but there was absolutely nothing you could do about it.
Huge play on special teams right there. Reverse return.
Great job by Pickens County getting themselves set up. Another missed tackle there. You got to be able to tackle in space. Great run right there by the quarterback from Pickens County.
Absolutely.
But that was set up, like you said, by a huge play in special teams, setting up that score. But that right there, you see it right there, 4:03 left, 21-12, and that's how the game would end with the Coosa Christian Conquerors sealing their fate to go to Tuscaloosa. So going across the state real quick with some scores. In Class 7A, last week we know, like I said, Central Phoenix City beat Mary of Montgomery 21-7, and Thompson beat Hewitt Trustful 21-10. Both of these teams, and actually Thompson had a few hiccups this year.
Right.
But you know, I mean, they got a really good addition at the end of the year. The 4-star defensive end that moved in from Spain Park.
Right.
I talked to some guys.
What a wild time.
He is a game changer on their defense. Just him alone makes them a lot better.
Right.
Talking to some of the guys that I know that's still in coaching, he's the real deal. And then Central Phoenix City, they've really not been tested by a team in Alabama all year. So that is a matchup between two heavyweights.
Yeah, and we're talking about.
You got to beat the champion to be the champion.
And then Thompson's won 4 straight. They're looking for their 5th straight right here. And Central Phoenix City, they do have, if anybody's got the team to get it done, us two being Auburn fans, we talked about before we came on air, did you see where Cam Coleman, a 5-star receiver that plays for the Central Phoenix, he's out there, man, and a bunch of players that they have. Both of these teams are star-studded, but I think either one of these teams can come away with the win for sure. Thompson, can they stay? Obviously, they're hungry, but can they get it done for the 5th straight year at the highest level in our state?
Yeah, the Red Devils, Coach Tellis Stone is a guy that I know that I'm buddies with that's on Central Phoenix City staff, and just talking with him and talking about the way that Patrick Nix runs his program, they're second to none. They run it like a college program, and things. As long as that staff is in place there, they're going to continue to have success because of what they do in the offseason, how they work out, how they do this, different things. And like what Mark Freeman's been able to do at Thompson speaks for itself. Right. Last year went and won it with an 8th grade quarterback, and now the Seaborn kid is playing out of his mind. And so he's playing out of his mind, the Seaborn kid is.
Right.
As a 9th grader, as a freshman now, and he's got weapons all the way around him.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and Thompson fell to Clay Chalfa earlier this year, which Clay Chalfa's been playing for the 6A title. But yeah, Central Phoenix can definitely get the job done. I'm very eager to see what that matchup is going to end up being, what the final score is going to be next Wednesday in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, so next Wednesday we'll get kicked off with a really big matchup in Class 7A, and I think Central Phoenix City may have the dogs this year to finally dethrone the champion.
I'm with you.
But to be the best, you got to beat the best.
Got to beat them, baby.
Central Phoenix City's got their opportunity to beat the 4-time defending state champions, the Thompson Warriors. So we will see how that game shakes out next Wednesday at 7 o'clock in Tuscaloosa. In Class 6A, Saraland all over Pike Road, which is really to no surprise of anybody. Saraland is loaded with talent. Ryan Williams, they got dudes all across the board there. KJ Lacey, probably the best quarterback, or arguably one of the best quarterbacks in our state. And then Clay Chalkville, I thought this game might be closer. And for a while, it was a decent ball game. But Clay Chalkville was able to pull away 38-13 over Parker. Clay Chalkville, we know that they're loaded with talent. Yeah. Mbabwe, the quarterback, the Alabama signee, actually went down at one point in this ball game. And so, judging by the final score, I'm sure he got healthy and got back in the ball game. But judging by that, I don't see anybody touching Saraland, but I believe that Clay Chalkville will have a game plan together, and I expect Saraland to pack the box and make Clay Chalkville beat them by throwing the football.
Right.
But I think everybody's tried that. And
everybody's tried it, and we've seen Clay Chalkville play host to Thompson this year, dude, and come away with the win.
Yeah. So they've already played a team with tons of talent.
That's been the best team in our state for 4 years.
Yeah, we know that they can show up in the big moments. We know that they can play when it gets – but, like, my thing is do they have enough athletes to match up with Saraland, who the weapons that Saraland has offensively?
It can beat you multiple ways, for sure. And like you're saying, I mean, I think if you are Saraland, that is your game plan defensively, is to make them beat you through the air, because – the starting quarterback for Clay Chalkville, what's the young man's name?
For Clay Chalkville, Mbabwe?
Yeah, he's committed to play corner for the Crimson Tide, and he isn't an aired out, a super duper high caliber thrower. So I believe that you're right as far as the game plan goes for Saraland. But like you said, many teams have done it and just not been successful with it.
Mbakwe is how you say it.
I like it.
But Ryan Williams, slot receiver, defending Mr. Football for the state of Alabama for Saraland. The thing about it is when you can move a guy around and you can get a guy in the slot and you get a guy that a slot guy, it's a matchup nightmare.
Yeah.
Because either as a defensive coordinator, you have to take out a run stopper, bring in a nickel corner, and bring in different guys to kind of do that. You can bracket them, but when you bracket one guy, you leave other guys out on the island. When you go half-field coverage and you go man coverage to one side and you run zone to the other side to try to cover them, you leave it out, and then you also are susceptible to the big crosser going all the way across the field.
You almost have to rely on one-on-one matchups to beat them. I mean, because if you load up on Ryan Williams, like you said, that team's so complete they can beat you many different ways. You almost can't do it. But listen, if there's a team in 6A that can match up with Saraland all across the board, I do think it is Clay Chalkville. They got the speed, they got the size, and they got players that's been there in those high moments.
You talk about Iron Man football. In order for Clay Chalkville to win this ball game, I think Mbakwe is going to have to play 85 to 90% of all the snaps, offense and defense.
Right.
He's going to play DB when he gets to Alabama. Like, that's what he's going to be. That's what he's going to be in college. And so he's going to have to play offense and defense for them to be successful. They're going to have to be very creative as a coaching staff on how they rest them and when they rest them.
Is that not crazy, though? We're talking about that in a 6A matchup, about a kid playing both ways. But that's a testament to him and the type of athlete that he is and how much that team relies on just his skill,
But, he's a guy like you talked about with those one-on-one matchups. If you put him in a one-on-one matchup, you trust that he's going to win that matchup.
Right.
And so –
And look, we know a little bit in this area about 6A players being able to do more than what they were asked to do all season. You think about in 19 when Oxford won it all, Zay Britt, receiver all year. Higgins gets hurt right there in the championship game. Zay Britt's inserted, Oxford ends up winning the game. Zay Britt comes away with the MVP trophy at a different position that he hasn't ever played before. So we've seen that type of thing before, and we've seen it recently. But for a guy like him to be called to do it on both sides of the ball, that's something we don't really see at the 6A, 7A level.
No doubt about it. But the 7A matchup that we've already talked about, I'm intrigued by. This 6A matchup, I'm also intrigued by. I think it's going to be a very good matchup. And a lot of this, sometimes when it comes down to this, I hate to say it, but when you got two teams at the caliber of these two teams, it all comes down to the game plan that the coaches put together.
Right.
I'm excited to see what these coaches put together. I'm excited to see that chess match right there to see how they go against each other in that matchup. In Class 5A, Gulf Shores all over Eufaula tonight, 45-0. And Ramsey goes on to beat Gunnersville 35-14. So you've got a unbelievable matchup between Gulf Shores and Ramsey in the 5A finals. Ronnie Royal, a local guy that we're all familiar with that moved down to Gulf Shores, an unbelievable athlete there. He's a Power 5 guy. And then Ramsey is loaded with talent all over. I mean, we got to see them last week against Moody, and they're just absolutely loaded. I talked to a guy who has played against Gulf Shores, went and watched Ramsey and Moody last week, and he feels like that Ramsey has the upper hand in that matchup in Class 5A.
Right. I mean, with Ramsey, with just their region play, I mean, that region, we talk about it, we're very close to Coach LeBeau and Austin Stevens and Coach Davis and a lot of those guys that's on that staff at Pleasant Grove. We know the talent they have to face throughout the year. And then for Ramsey to come through these playoffs like they have, Gulf Shores, they're having an outstanding showing in the playoffs as well, but Ramsey just toe-to-toe with the opponents that they've seen all year. I think their preparation, opponent-wise, will have them more ready than in this game. But Gulf Shores, man, they're really coming together here towards the end.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think Gulf Shores is the #1 team on ranking in Class 5A. I don't know if Ramsey's played a team as good as Gulf Shores all year. And I know what you just said, and that's very true. Like, there's some good teams, and we talked about 5A North and how good 5A North was. But then going through these playoffs, was 5A North as tough as what we thought?
Right.
And was 5A South a little bit tougher than what we thought? But Gulf Shores breezed through all of their games in the South.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be the most talented team that Ramsey's played all year. And I will say this, I think Ramsey has the upper hand, and I think they're the better team. But if Ramsey comes out and starts out slow, like they have a couple of times, it will be a difficult ball game for them. But Ramsey is definitely tested. They've played 6A Parker, who played in the 6A semifinals tonight. They played Pleasant Grove. They've played a bunch of teams. They played Auburn earlier in the year. They've definitely been tested.
Yeah.
But Gulf Shores is going to give them a really good test.
And look, man, like you just mentioned in this last match, the 6A matchup, talking about the coaches' game plans, man, that played such a pivotal role in these fourth round and fifth in the final round matchups. The coaching and the scheme and the preparation that goes in. It's not just your Jimmys and Joes. It is a lot your Jimmys and Joes, especially 1A through 4A. But 5A, 6A, 7A, it really boils down to what kind of plan do you have ahead of these matchups for sure.
No doubt about it. Well, hey, listen, we're going to get to 4A and below when we come back, but we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're halfway through the last edition of the Coaches Show presented by Team 1 Chevy of Gadsden. Me and Austin will be right back right after this commercial break.
The Coosa Valley, on the banks of the Coosa River in Gadsden, Alabama. Fishing, boating, and paddling, and home to Team 1 Chevrolet. Team 1 Chevy has been serving generations for years. Even the grandkids are grown. Come by and see why so many people come back to Team 1 Chevy in Gadsden.
Home of the best people, the best service, period.
At Campers Unlimited, we offer a no-pressure experience, no hidden fees, and great service after the sale, making us one of the fastest-growing RV dealers in the Southeast. With our second location in Oxford, we offer a great selection of over 220 campers from top brands, including Grand Design. Our mission is to help friends and family spend time together in the great outdoors. At Campers Unlimited, you aren't just a customer, you are family. Check out our inventory at campersunlimited.net or come see us at Gadsden or Oxford.
Hello, I'm James Shambley of Family Loan Company, 1115 Noble Street, Anderson. We also have 3 other locations: Family Loan of Oxford, 1225 East Snow Street, Oxford; Money Junction Finance at 1503A West Megan Boulevard, Gadsden; and JCI Finance at 608 Gilbert's Ferry Road, Atala, Alabama. We understand the need honest people have to borrow money from time to time. At Family Loan Company, we'd love to say yes. Call or come by and see us today for the fast, confidential service that you so deserve.
Welcome back to the Coaching Show presented by Team 1 Chevy of Gadsden. When we left off, we got done previewing Class 5A. Now let's look at Class 4A, where we do get into some local team, which is who we want to cover here in East Alabama. But we see the Cinderella story falls short. 28-0, Montgomery Catholic punches their ticket to Tuscaloosa, and then 50-6. The defending North champions retain their crown. They go on the road at Westminster tonight, get their quarterback back, which is a huge pickup for them. You know, last week I was afraid that they were going to make this run and then they were going to be down a quarterback. But we saw them, big leg brace and all, toughing it out, being a warrior, doing what people do. That's what it's all about. That's why I love high school football, because you get guys, it means something to them. He could have easily said, hey, I'm a good baseball player.
Right.
I'm going to go ahead and get ready for baseball. But it meant something to be out there and competing with his brothers. That's what it's all about.
Right.
And in a day and age where we'll set out of bowl games and we'll do this and we'll do all that, and we want to sit over there on the sidelines and look cool and wear our hoodies and all that stuff. Like, in a day where a guy wants to jump out there and compete with his teammates. And even though he's injured, I love it. Love it.
And for kids to come up all the way through in the same school system, that is getting in the same school system all the way from the time they start school all the way to the time they graduate, that's becoming a rarity too. And so when you do that, though, it was a no-brainer in his mind to get back out there on the field.
Well,
he knows his team needed him.
He's actually a guy that was at Ohatchee. His dad was the principal at Ohatchee, and now his dad's the principal at Cherokee County. And so it's actually the principal's son, which is another cool thing too. Carson
cool.
Tittle. So neat little thing there, but toughing it out. What do you think about this matchup?
Between Montgomery Catholic and Cherokee County, I mean, we saw what Montgomery Catholic could do against Jacksonville last week. They handled them pretty easily. Handled the Golden Eagles pretty easily.
And we thought that game would be a lot closer because we thought that Jacksonville, for 4A football, is stacked with athletes and one of the better quarterbacks in the state.
Like you said, man, if you're Montgomery Catholic with Andalusia going down, 2 Booker T. Washington, correct?
Yep.
2 and Hanley going down.
Andalusia, that's right.
Andalusia going down. Either way, Andalusia going down, Hanley going down. Man, if you're
Jackson
Montgomery Catholic, Jackson. If you're Montgomery Catholic, you're like, man, it's kind of paving itself out for us. And then Cherokee County comes in, though. Come in last year. They lost the thing last year. Man, Cherokee County is super motivated. They get their guy back this week. They win convincingly. They have all the confidence in the world going into this Montgomery Catholic game. Even though Montgomery Catholic has been a very stout team and they can beat you special teams-wise. We saw that in the film last week against Jacksonville. And they got athletes. They got some real dudes all over the field. I think that Cherokee County, man, that either one of these teams really and truthfully has a chance to win this game.
I think it's 2 different brands of football.
Right.
Cherokee County, we've talked about Jacob Cornejo all year, but they play a brand of football. They're tough, they're gritty. Coach Kelly, I hated coaching against him because his teams were always gritty. They always, even when they were not as talented as what they are now, they still played the game a certain way. And so he's going to have them guys playing the game the way they need to be playing. And they're another group, made it last year. Was the stage too big? I mean, the first time you go, it's always too big. Now Montgomery Catholic, this is their first time on that big stage. Is it going to be something new for them? Does experience help Cherokee County in this ball game?
Yeah, experience will definitely help Cherokee County. I think as far as starting like they need to. But man, with the experience you're talking about, just not in the turnovers that we talk about and how crucial they are in the turnover margin, I think experience helps out in that factor greatly. Like I said, Cherokee County very hungry. They got a great coaching staff, man. They got their guy back. Man, this is a matchup that we weren't really. I mean, when earlier throughout the year, as far as 4A goes, I didn't think there was a way we don't include Andalusia in it or Hanley in it. We definitely saw Cherokee County having potential to get to the 4th round of potential is because the North isn't what the South is. But man, this matchup right here is as good as it's going to get in 4A in our state this year.
No doubt about it.
Montgomery Catholic's absolutely balling out. Cherokee County can beat anybody.
And we talked about we talked about the coaching staff for Cherokee County, but Coach Juice Johnson does a really good job for Montgomery Catholic as well. That program has been completely turned around in the last 5 or 6 years, and they've always had a team that everybody thought had a chance to make it to the state championship, had talent, and always tripped up in the playoffs. They were able to get the job done, punch their ticket to Tuscaloosa. I'm very intrigued by this ball game, and I'm ready to see whose style of play comes out on top.
I want to see Cherokee County, especially them being a team we've covered all year, I want to see Cherokee County be able to stick to their guns, run that ball, be super physical, assert dominance, and win this game in a clock management type style game.
Well, you know,
and come away with the win. That'd be huge, man.
You know what else is difficult about this 4A game is they kick off at 11 o'clock. Like, it's different for kids. I mean, even college age, when they have to play the early game, some teams struggle, and games end up being closer than what they're 100%. Supposed to be. So Cherokee County, like I said again, they played in that 11 o'clock game last year. It's experience. They know what to expect. Kind of getting a rhythm, kind of fixing things maybe that they didn't like what they did, the way they did it last year, and kind of fine-tune that. Could definitely have some impact on it. But big matchup next week, Cherokee County and Montgomery Catholic. In Class 3A, the defending state champions go down tonight. Mobile Christian takes down St. James 34-30. And Geraldine, in what was a barn burner, back and forth the entire ball game. Geraldine actually had the lead with a minute left in the fourth quarter and ended up falling 48-43.
Yeah, think about Madison Academy, man. Last week they play host to Sylvania, who's a team that we've covered a ton in this area too. Absolutely balling out all year. Go to Madison Academy, winning that game. Madison Academy finds a way to win the football game. Same story here against Geraldine, as high as the team we've covered this year, and they find a way to win that game as well, man. I mean, unbelievable 2-week stretch for Madison Academy.
Well, and it don't get no easier with Mobile Christian.
It's crazy.
Like, Mobile Christian's loaded with talent, a team that's also used to winning. This matchup right here is going to kill the traditionalists because it's two private schools matching up against each other. It's going to hurt people. It's going to hurt people. But hey, they earn their way there. And you know, the thing about private schools now is, like, we complain about them, but they have competitive balance. They have all that stuff where they win, they have to move up in classification. I mean, look at Bayside's volleyball team. They won it all the way from like 3A all the way up to they finally got beat this year in 6A action.
Right.
And so
and Pike Road same way, correct?
Pike Road is not a private school.
Are they not? Well, I knew they moved up from 5A to 6A.
They moved up just because of their numbers. Their school's just growing.
I got you.
But looking at this game, Madison Academy, like you said, great 2-game stretch, but Mobile Christian also had to knock off the defending state champion. So this is another matchup of two teams that are used to being there, two teams with a lot of tradition, two teams that have played for state championships, and a 3A matchup that's going to be a really good matchup. This also is a game that starts at on Thursday at 11 o'clock. So it's getting used to that. Having a different schedule, having to get up early in the morning, it's a completely different animal.
Yeah. There's another element to it too. When you have two teams going into a fourth round state championship type matchup where they're coming off a final prayer to win the football game. Mobile Christian wins over St. James by 4 points, by one score. Madison Academy, same thing over Geraldine, 1-score football game. That week of preparation going in, it's like a deep sigh of relief. You know, to just win the football game. Now we got to run back into it. But neither team is going to go into this game thinking that, oh, dude, we have the major advantage over this team. They're going to go into this week with, you know, intense preparation, you know, trying to fine-tune some things and get into it. And you're going to get the best version out of both teams, in my opinion, when you come off of a close win like that.
You know, who I think is very important to teams this late in the season that we don't talk about a lot, and you kind of alluded to it earlier, but I think the trainer for each team is very important because at this point there's going to be bumps, bruises, there are going to be some small injuries. Who can be healthy enough to get on the field? I mean, like, I remember when you were a senior and I was coaching, some of y'all spent more time in the training room that week than we did at practice. Yeah. And like our practices was very limited. So how many mental reps can you take? that trainer, what can they do to better prepare you to be able to play at the best you can play at? I mean, because like we had to go play a team that was by far the best 4A team and we were playing with different guys who were injured and
young guys and everything. And at the 3A level, we're talking about too, where depth isn't at your disposal.
Yeah, you got people playing both ways.
Right.
I mean, so like that's the bad thing. Like when I was the head coach at White Plains, when you lost one guy, it was like losing two guys because he was the starting running back was also the starting linebacker, or the starting quarterback was also the starting safety. So I mean, it was
I mean, we hate to talk about what we've done, but I mean, in that senior year, my senior year, your first year as defense coordinator, I go down in the third round game while I'm out. What ends up later in the first half, later in the fourth quarter, Avery Harris, our starting quarterback, goes down. Guess what? Who's the second string quarterback? Me. You got a third string quarterback in there at the fourth round game. So you're talking about injuries can really affect the depth chart and things like that. Guys that hadn't even taken reps at all. Well, and I think you're exactly right.
Here's the thing: who's going to step up? Who's going to have the guy that steps up, next man up mentality? That's going to happen in some of these games. Who's going to step up and fill the role and
we just talked
other
about
guys got to make plays. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
So, in Class 2A, we saw the heartbreak finish for the B.B. Comer Tigers, Reeltown. But, look, man, we had looked forward to that matchup all year round. We got it. It didn't disappoint. 1 second left on the clock. They kick a field goal to add to the drama. It hits the upright and then kicks in. Instead of kicking out, it kicks in. And Reeltown defeats B.B. Comer 31-28 to advance to the state championship. But they are going up against a buzzsaw, Logan Anderson, Coach Paul Benefield, and the Fife Red Devils are on fire right now. They beat Pisgah tonight 32-14. This is going to be a tough matchup for Reeltown, and especially, like you said, coming off of that high of finally getting over that B.B. Comer hump, and then now you got to turn around and play one of the best programs in the entire state, 1A through 7A.
Right.
I mean, like, see what Paul Benefield has done at Fife, and you got to turn around like you get a huge win. Everybody's pumped. They dogpile. You go on the road and you get a huge win, and then
now
all
we
of
get
a
to
sudden,
go play Fife.
Yeah, and now you got to get
been there, won there. They're not going to have any type of, the stage is too big. That is not a thing with them.
No.
I mean, Reeltown has to come out and play the best game possible. And we saw towards the end right there how many players we saw of them laying on the ground, battling cramps and things like that. Guys going both ways, wringing that rag out of every last sweat drop. And, man, it's going to be a tall task, like you're saying, with Fife.
Yeah. But, like, the thing about Fife, dude, like, last year everybody's going crazy. We, won a state championship. Fife wins it. It's like, hey, we've been here before. Let's just add another blue map to our trophy case. We'll come back and do it again next year. Like, business as usual for Fife and Paul Benefield. I'm intrigued by that matchup, though. Reeltown, just the little bit of film that I just got to watch on them, they're physical. They play a very physical brand of football, but you better if you're going to stop that rushing attack of Logan Anderson and the Fife Red Devils. In Class 1A, we got a matchup of a local team, but the game that I want to talk about in Class 1A, Leroy and Elba. I think everybody, even though Leroy was the number 1 ranked team in 1A, I think everybody thought that Elba was going to come in and win this football game.
Yeah,
but Leroy, Elba took a lead late in the ball game, left too much time on the clock, though, for the Leroy Bears. And Leroy drives the length of the field, scores a touchdown, 27-24, the final there. Leroy punches its ticket into the Class 1A state championship game. And then Coosa Christian, we talked about them already. They defeat Pickens County, and 21-12. They won a defensive ball game. Most of their ball games this year has been they just score as many points as they want
Especially
to.
The last 5
but they
weeks.
had to figure out a way to win a game in a different way tonight. Right. Defense stood tall, and Coosa Christian gets their chance. Like, they've been playing with a chip on their shoulder the whole year. Ever since they had their ruling, they've been playing with a different edge. Can they take that edge and finish it off with a blue map in Tuscaloosa?
Yeah, I think they can. I think that Leroy Elba game was definitely star-studded for 1A football for sure. But for Coosa, like you say, to have to win a football game in a low-scoring game, something they haven't had to do all year, really, I mean, is huge. And like you said, the only loss they had all year was the Geraldine 3A semifinal team. Man, for Coosa to be able to come away with a defensive match and come away with it, man, that's going to be huge. I think it's going to pay dividends for them, potentially win the state championship next week.
All right. Well, Austin, I'm going to put you on the spot real quick. We're going to go through these state championship finals, and I want you to pick a winner. And I'll pick a winner too, but I'm going to let you pick first.
You going to let me go first, man?
Yeah. Central Phoenix City, Thompson, who you got?
I'm going Central Phoenix City, the Red Devils. I know that Thompson's been there. This is their fifth straight state championship game. That is insane. At the highest level of football that's played in the state of Alabama, Thompson, with a freshman, won it with an 8th grader last year. But I think that Phoenix City dethrones Thompson this year and comes away with the win.
I'm going to agree with you. I got Central Phoenix City to win Class 7A this year as well. I think they're just too talented. In Class 6A, Saraland and Clay Chalkville.
Who? Saraland. Who?
You got Saraland?
Yeah, I got Saraland. I like what you said about, if you're the coaching staff for Saraland, you want to sell out, load the box, do what you can to make that quarterback make some plays with his arm. We know what type of athlete he is. He's going to be playing both sides of the ball if they're going to come away with that win. I think that's just so much of a tall task for the athletes that are going to be on the field. I think that Saraland comes out there and handles business, stands on business. Some of my friends would say.
I got Clay Chalkville in that one, so I'm going to disagree with you.
Whoa.
We're going to agree to disagree.
Are you serious?
In college football, I got a final for you. Washington just defeated Oregon 34-31 to claim the Pac-12 championship. In Class 5A, Austin, we got Gus Shores and Ramsey. Who you got?
That one's tough, man, because like you said, Gulf Shores is hot, man, and they've kind of dominated through these playoffs.
Who you got, man?
You want to just go quick with it?
Yeah.
You want to come quick with it?
I just feel like you're trying to fill me out and see who I pick before you.
I just want you to know before you pick, man. I'm trying to give you a little history lesson on both teams. Right. We don't talk about them at all, dude. But anyways, give me Ramsey. Go back to back.
I got Ramsey as well on that one. I think they're just too tough for.
I'm still confused. You didn't go with Saraland.
In Backway, I like him.
I like him too. I wish he was going in orange and blue next year.
I'm trying to flip him. That's why I picked him.
Maybe he'll have.
All right, for a Montgomery Catholic, Cherokee County, who you got?
I'm going Montgomery Catholic. I know Cherokee County is our local team, but I think Montgomery Catholic's got athletes all over the field, man, and I think they get the job done.
I'm going to go Cherokee County in a different style. I thought that Jacksonville was actually able to run the football pretty well early on Montgomery Catholic.
Yeah.
I think that same kind of thing. I think Cherokee County goes down there and shocks the world. And
I would love to see that. Let the record show. I'd love to see the Warriors win.
You've already picked. Don't backtrack now. You've already picked Montgomery Catholic.
Hold on, real quick. If Cherokee County wins, when's the last time a 4A North team has won? I mean, if Cherokee County wins, I
don't know. I'll look that up after the show.
We need to look that up.
We'll post that on Facebook later. In Class 3A, Mobile Christian and Madison Academy. Who you got?
I gotta go Mobile Christian, man.
I'm gonna agree with you and go Mobile Christian.
I know that Madison Academy just played some really good teams back-to-back weeks, but I think it'd be a really tall task for them to go 3 straight weeks playing at the highest level they possibly can and come away with the win.
No doubt about it. Here we go. Reeltown 5, real quick.
5.
I got 5. That's 2. Leroy and Coosa Christian. Who you got?
Leroy.
I got Coosa Christian. I think they're going defense is going to be too much in that one. So we can agree to disagree there. Austin, we've got some highlights from the last week of the regular season and the first couple of rounds of the playoffs. We're going to play those highlights, and then when we come back, we'll close this thing out for one last time. This has been the semifinal edition of the Coaches Show. We'll be right back after these highlights.
Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you got to be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that.
Legends never die. They become a part of you. Every time you play far reaching greatness, relentless, you survive. They never
All right, so we're here. State championships game start next week, Austin. This is the last coaches show for this year, though, presented by Team 1 Chevy of Gadsden. We want to thank all of our sponsors who made football season possible. We want to thank everybody here at TV24, all the people behind the scenes, Jeff, Jason, Eric, all of our shooters. We want to thank Shasta, our sideline reporter, everybody who made this possible. And then lastly, want to thank Austin Campbell. Austin, thanks for joining us, man. It's been fun getting to hang out with you all year.
Yeah, man. It's been a
and
blast.
I ain't let you do this all year, but I'm gonna allow you to take us out.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
Chandler Tyree. Take us out.
Yeah, man. It seems like just yesterday we was coming in here before the season started, shooting some promos, goofing off, and here we are. We did this all for the kids, man. We have fun doing it, but I think everybody here can say at TV24 we do it for the kids, and we've been in those shoes before. And man, this kind of stuff right here helps the memories last forever. But we appreciate y'all. We thank y'all for tuning in. That's it here for the Coaches Show and Team 1 Chevrolet of Gadsden Studio. Thanks again.
We out.